I collected a list of 50 bands I've never been able to get into for one reason or another, and now I'm going to revisit each artist with a fresh perspective to see if maybe my opinions have changed or maybe stayed the same. Joining me for this massive undertaking on Tier Tracer is field correspondent XX Brutal Swag 69XX, who will be helping...
Actually, I'm undergoing a heavy rebrand, so I now identify as X.
Sorry, champ, I think Elon Musk owns that letter now.
Fine, then call me XX. No, not those posers, me.
XX, reveal today's rankings from best possible outcome to worst.
Live from the attic, tonight's categories that John made up with stupid names are repeat customer, heating up, it's fine, really, gear grinders, utter confusion, and Mountain Dew Code Red.
No, it's just Code Red.
Would you just let me have this one?
Hey neighbor, my name is John, and this is Tier Tracer. It's important to reevaluate opinions. That's what we're doing today. I'm not going to promise that I won't have any harsh criticisms, but the criticism or the praise that I have will come from a fresh perspective. Against the Current is a popular New York pop-rock trio known for their infectious melodies and charismatic performances. Against the Current blew up in the mid-2010s and were heavily requested for me to cover. I'm sure a lot of fans were hoping that I would speak positively on their name, but unfortunately, this is a very bland band. Not an awful one, but one that follow in the coattails of a la Imagine Dragons. Not to that degree, but the pandering, the be-your-own-boss style music, it feels very inauthentic and very inoffensive, watered down. Away with thee Against the Current. We're grinding you up in the gears with these rudimentary instrumentals and just very plasticine vibes. From Baltimore, Maryland, Animal Collective is an experimental pop band known for their vibrant soundscapes and innovative production approach. Hey guys, glad you're having fun. I'm a little lost here. Not that I've ever done this, but I would have to imagine it would be like dropping a tab of acid and then you think you're the Beach Boys, so you start stacking up all of your vocal harmonies, but then, oops, Ari Aster entered the scene. It's time to relive the events of the film Midsommar, except the GPS just kind of told you to get out and walk. That's what the disconnect between me and Animal Collective is. Maybe I haven't experienced it in the right setting, whatever the case may be, but I will give them more chances in the years to come. But as it stands, I'm feeling utterly confused over here on the sideline. Hailing from Montreal, Arcade Fire is an indie rock band celebrated for their anthemic melodies, emotive lyrics, and captivating live performances. After a few decades of this band existing, I have connected with them a little bit more as I've listened with nuance, really trying to pay attention to the heart and soul of the band. It's just that there's been decreasing results as the years have gone by. It's indie rock with a great foundation. I've accepted that I just have weird opinions on them. I think Everything Now is one of their best albums up there with, say, Neon Bible, and I'm gonna say it's fine. Emerging from Brighton, England, As It Is are a pop-punk band known for introspective lyrics and energetic live shows, blending catchy hooks with heartfelt themes. It's hard to keep your lips sealed after hearing a song as cringy as 2003, and it's made me go back and re-listen to this band without the rose-tinted shade of Warped Tour. Y'all are really out here doing the least, acting like you're doing the most. If only an aesthetic could prop up an entire music career. This band is flatlined in terms of vision and creativity. They are hindered by their influences that they wear way too proudly on their sleeves. And I'm pulling the alarm. It's a Code Red As It Is. When I'm dreaming tonight, I can go anywhere. When I'm dreaming tonight, I can be anyone. So don't wake me up. BASTILLE is an alternative pop band out of London, England, known for their soaring but often troubled anthems, merging electronic elements with indie musicianship. With BASTILLE, it's the way the music is packaged and sold that irks me. It's like, oh, you're gonna need a submarine to dive down and explore the depths of this one, and it's like, this is a kiddie pool, not an infinity pool. The lack of ingenuity has become a bigger plague the longer they've gone into their career, and at this point, it just doesn't make them stand out. It's kind of a gear grinder.
This ain't Texas, ain't no hold'em. Hey, lay your cards down, down, down.
Beyonce is a global superstar known for her powerful vocals, electrifying performances, and her decades-long contribution to music, fashion, and culture. I'll do everyone, including me, a favor and keep it brief with Beyonce, but I've never seen The X Factor. I've just never felt like Beyonce was much of an albums artist, even though she's transitioned into this era post-2010 where she does put out big, heady, conceptual, visual type albums, and I really feel like it's a boxer throwing light punches, just pulling punches left and right, where they could grit their teeth and really go in, but outside of albums like Lemonade, I don't see it, and I feel very confused. Formed in Cincinnati by Andy Biersack, Black Veil Brides became a glam metal band known for their theatrical stage presence, matching costumes, and a heavy but melodic sound. It would be low-hanging fruit to just write off Black Veil Brides because they're cheesy and cringe, and Andy Black is the sexy frontman done up in leather that's appealing to a very specific crowd very, very well. Beyond all of that, I do think there's a really solid band here that deserves some credit. Are the lyrics so easy a caveman could translate the level of angst and rebellion that they're trying to pump out there? Absolutely. Tough call, but I'm putting them in the gear grinders because it can be a lot to stomach. Based in New York City, Bleachers is a pop rock project. Maybe not quite a band, but it's led by Jack Antonoff and characterized by heartland hooks, nostalgic themes, and colorful production. Take the sadness out of Saturday Night, Strange Desire. They have several acclaimed albums that people really seem to throw themselves into. But even when it was in more of synth-pop-laden waters, a la the debut, I still, outside of a handful of songs, just felt like I wasn't seeing the vision come to fruition. Antonoff cosplaying as Bruce Springsteen stopped being cute a decade ago, yet they've leaned into it more than ever. Look, I'm in no way claiming that they're one of the worst projects out there. Maybe it's just me and my vendetta for the Springsteen sound, but I'm just feeling a little confused, given the fact that so many of my friends love this project.
We'll meet again someday on the avenue, tangled up in blue.
Bob Dylan is a legendary American singer-songwriter and Nobel Prize recipient renowned for his poetic lyrics, distinct vocal style, and profound lasting influence on folk and rock music. I grew up with an uncle that worshipped Bob Dylan, so I was introduced to his music at a very young age, and even as a child, I kinda would scratch my head thinking internally, who is this man that we bend over backwards to praise, and why does it sound like he couldn't outsing a drunk alley cat? I now recognize how influential Dylan is, the power and emotion in his words and his poetry and his lyricism. It's not just about the music is obviously extremely important, but it's the legacy that he has pushed onto other artists by inspiring them. I'm gonna say it's fine, really, which is just to say that I absolutely admire and respect the man and the legacy that he continues to leave behind. Born in New Jersey, Bruce "The Boss" Springsteen is an iconic rock musician acclaimed for his heartfelt storytelling, anthemic rock sound, and poetic lyrics reflecting the American experience.
Grate your teeth and bear it, John. This is an American treasure. Just smile. Just smile real big. You love Bruce.
I hate Bruce Springsteen. The artist, not the man, but the artist, yes. Bruce himself has the voice of a billy goat in Heat, and the tunes themselves, the anthems for the working class hero, they just, am I the only one that kind of feels like they're out of touch, especially coming from the level of success? No matter how small he started off, it feels weird coming from someone so rich now. So I fully recognize the fact that it's a spite store, okay? I'm Larry David. I'm opening up a spite shop. It's right next to Bruce Springsteen wherever he's performing. And I have to say, hey, Bruce, carry on with the concert and all, but I heard you were going to go for 5 hours, so I'm pulling a code red.
When you're in the party, bumping that beat. 666 with a Princess Street.
Charli XCX is a genre-defying pop artist celebrated for having an always-evolving sound, catchy hooks, and boundary-pushing approaches to making music. The way I've gone back and forth with Charli's artistry over the past decade, am I a fan? Am I a hater? Am I very clearly keeping a foot in both of these waters? I'm at this weird crossroads where I've never fully loved one of her projects or even really thoroughly enjoyed one, and I also find something on every single project that I walk away loving. So what kind of black magic sorcery is that? Okay, maybe it's me, maybe I'm the finicky bitch, but listen, it's fine, really. CIRCA Survive is a Philadelphia-based progressive rock band known for their intricate instrumentals, emotive vocals, and thoughtful lyrics, also blending elements of post-hardcore with indie rock. I've never really talked about CIRCA Survive that much on the channel because I've never been a fan. I thought Anthony Green's voice was just nasally, whiny, way too high-pitched, and just off-putting, even though I had to admit there was a lot of great musicianship on display, whether that be the riffage or the incredible drums. The rhythm section is very, very strong with CIRCA Survive. And as I started to have other friends that recommended their music, and I went back through albums like The Amulet and Blue Sky Noise, I just started to see all of the colors appearing like a rainbow. 2 decades after I first heard Act Appalled on Fuse, here I am saying that I've become a repeat customer of CIRCA Survive. Hailing from Sacramento, California, Dance Gavin Dance is a post-hardcore band known for their genre-defying sound, zany instrumentals, and a revolving door of high-note capable singers. Dance Gavin Dance had me doing stank face for a different reason than you would typically associate with this level of mathcore, post-hardcore, whatever you want to label them. I was introduced to Dance Gavin Dance at a strange time. They were without their screamer, and it was the album Instant Gratification, one that with any year of it coming out, I had kind of done a somersault. I applaud their efforts. I think that they take big swings, but to me, the only way they're connecting is the way that they're driving that bat over my skull again and again with a variety of different vocalists. It feels like every individual is pitting their talents against each other in an all-out war for who can be the loudest on the track. But hey, listen, a shout out to Kurt Travis and to Andrew Wells, because I think those are the two vocalists that have fit the best in this band, and one of them is currently the frontrunner. I'm close to pulling that code red, but let's be honest, I'm utterly confused. I'm dazed, I'm confused, and I'm getting hit in the face with fucking Will Swan riffs.
Let your heart beat here.
Dashboard Confessional is an emo acoustic rock project fronted by Chris Carrabba, renowned for his heartfelt lyrics, raw emotion, and intimate live performances. There was a time in my young emo life that I needed Chris Carrabba's music like the beating heart inside my chest, but as I grew older, the instrumentation just doesn't pack much of a punch, and I don't feel that the writing on a lot of the songs, just compositionally, it feels overwrought. Although Chris relies too heavily on his acoustic guitar and whinier vocals, I do think that he's very talented, he serves his audience well, and those early records like Swiss Army Romance, Dusk and Summer, I do think they have some genuinely great moments.
Down, you up and
Formed in Charlottesville, Virginia, the Dave Matthews Band is a veteran rock collective celebrated for their fusion of rock, jazz, and folk, led by frontman Dave Matthews' distinctive voice and a tapestry of brass and guitar. When I was shuffling through Spotify's This Is Dave Matthews in preparation for this video, I kept coming across song after song thinking, oh my god, that's Dave Matthews Band? Oh my god, I hate this song! I'm not big on jam bands to begin with, but the way that Dave sings and the way that they incorporate brass and other instrumentation, it just feels so, hunky-dory going down the street. Sometimes we have a serious conversation, but it kind of feels like Sesame Street too. Oh, you gotta see them live. It's like Fish, man. You can't hear it on the record, man. Let me just grab this invisible bar and pull a code red for Dave Matthews Band. Death Grips is an experimental California hip-hop group known for their aggressive sound, unconventional production, and brutal boundary-pushing live sets. Critics everywhere, including Anthony Fantano right here on YouTube, were wetting themselves with excitement over Death Grips, this exciting three-piece that were just making noise, man, rapping. It was so visceral and going crazy, and you've never heard anything like this. MC Ride is unhinged, the production, it's next level. And, is there an opposite of next level? Because I feel like this one maybe needs to be taken underground.
Do you think we could get some air conditioning up here, bro? It is flaming hot Cheetos. I'm seriously melting out of my fucking skin.
Underground is where Death Grips have thrived. They have their fans that are so ride or die, and they can be incredibly pushy like a salesman. The music is atonal, aggro, noisy, dissonant, pretty much everything that I personally don't come to music for. Splitting Migraine, Death Grips, Shake in the Middle. How about that? Code Red.
First things first, let me get that introduction. We on a long road to self-destruction.
Don Toliver is a versatile hip-hop artist recognized for having unique melodies, a distinctive voice, and talents that have helped define modern rap and R&B. Admittedly, I was mainly familiar with Don Toliver because of his guest features, so I probably conflated how I thought I felt about the man himself with how maybe I felt about the other artists that he was appearing with, a la Justin Bieber. Totally unfair of me, but that was my assumption for the longest time. But unlike other artists like Future that I've never developed a taste for, Don Toliver has some fucking bangers, man. I gotta say, things are heating up, things are moving quickly with me and Don. Before long, I might be living the life of one. Fleet Foxes are a critically acclaimed indie folk band known for their lush harmonies, intricate melodies, and wistful lyrics about life. When Fleet Foxes broke out of the scene with albums like Helplessness, Blues, I found them slightly charming, but also a little bit like outdated wallpaper. A lot of their melodies are really gentle on the ears, and the kind of submersive instrumentation really can pull you in the overall atmosphere. I think they're compositionally sound. I like the writing a lot of the time. The vocals are generally solid and have a decent range to them, so it's hard to pin down why, but I think some bands you're just not meant to be into, and for that reason, I'm gonna put them up there, and it's fine. It really is. Fontaines DC is a critically acclaimed post-punk band out of Dublin, known for their gritty instrumentation and poetic writing that captures the essence of modern Irish life. I butter my bread with post-punk. It's a daily routine, but I just wasn't really feeling an affinity for Fontaines DC. You know how it is. So many bands, so little time. You can't dedicate yourself to every one, especially if it's just not seeming like it's gonna be your cup of tea. But I'm glad that I went back to check out their 2022 record and started preparing for the release of their new one by checking out the single Starburster and just having my mind really opened. Absolutely, Fontaines are a band to watch because they really creep up on you, both with the substance and weight of their material, but also the way they're evolving.
I touch her ass, she gon' think she Korean. You fucking me good, but you helping me win. Niggas can't see me, ain't no competition.
Atlanta-made Future is a prolific rapper and trap artist known for his distinct auto-tune flow and provocative lyricism, with his success helping shape the landscape of modern hip-hop. You know what? Wipe the slate, put this on record. The man has a small platter of bangers, but they are few and far between. The gibberish, the redundancy, the fact that he just stream bloats out those albums, there's no excuse. The sheer amount of material Future cranks out is a massive red flag for quantity over quality, and it's just monotonous-ass beats, weak selection overall, the mumbling one-noted auto-tuned flow. There's nothing much to write home about other than the fact that I'm utterly confused.
For a moment we were just creatures in heaven.
Oxford, England's very own Glass Animals is a very popular indie pop band celebrated for their lush production and psychedelic soundscapes, crafting a liquid blend of electronic and alternative. They're out here with their frontman Dave Bailey crooning over these shimmering weirdo beats that feel like they were cooked up in a lab somewhere and then slapped together for the sake of being experimental. I find them extremely annoying. I do have songs of theirs that I like, oddly enough. Their big hit Heat Waves is one of those, but I cannot say the same for the comeback after the hit Creatures in Heaven. I'm over here getting heated over Glass Animals. Let's just put them in the gear grinders and call it a day. Out of LA, Glass Beach is an emo, indie, post-rock, and math rock band that bends genres with emotionally resonant storytelling and out-of-the-box production techniques. From the start, I found this group oddly interesting, but I definitely felt a disconnect. The music can be surprisingly complex, and the genre switches can happen on a dime left and right. They're able to fuse a lot of ideas together, which can make it not so immediately catchy and feeling like it's all over the place stylistically. I think an album like Plastic Death really does reward you the longer you're sitting with it. Glass Beach are officially heating up. A lot of great lyricism, ideas, and emotion packed in. GORILLAZ is a virtual band created by musician Damon Albarn and cartoonist Jamie Hewlett. They became known for their unique blend of hip-hop, electronic, and alternative music, brought to life by animated bandmates with an entire iceberg of lore. GORILLAZ will never be one of my favorite bands, but I've definitely done a bit of a 180 in terms of how I was feeling about them even as recently as the mid-2010s. What I've really come to appreciate is the fact that even if you're not into one of the eras, whether it be the self-titled or Humans or the Now Now, even if you're not connecting with that record, it's fine. Just pick up the next one because Damon Albarn probably will have cooked up something very different. Plastic Beach was my game changer, and some of the other dominoes started to fall along with it, so I definitely would consider myself a repeat customer at this point.
Soft with light, the under window breaks. It is the east, but Juliet just puked off the balcony.
Hobo Johnson is a California-based alternative hip-hop artist known for his emotive spoken-word delivery, wide-ranging lyrics, and colorful blending of musical styles. Frank, I gave you a fair shot. I did a whole reaction video, first reaction to Hobo Johnson, enjoying some of the songs to a degree, thinking I would probably warm up to it, not knowing the fact that the revenge of Hobo Johnson was waiting just around the corner to knock my lights out. Even good, better Hobo Johnson of yesteryear was already so middle schooler, not like other boys coded, that it made my stomach feel funny. This man has gone off the rails and needs to be stopped. From Los Angeles, In This Moment became metalcore juggernauts led by frontwoman Maria Brink, recognized for their theatrical live shows, heavy riffs, and Maria's unwavering voice. I can't be the only one who has no idea what the appeal outside of Marina Brink of In This Moment could possibly be, because it's certainly not the depth of the music, it couldn't be the lyrics, it couldn't be the 5 outfit changes that I witnessed when they opened for Slipknot. I've always found myself cringing at them from a distance at the superficial empowerment anthems over these stale, faux menacing riffs and inconsistent live and programmed drums. If we're calling a spade, then I pull the alarm for Code Red.
But you don't let me up, no. You don't take my word for an answer. Such a
Formed in Atlanta, Issues was a metalcore band known for their fusion of heavy music with electronic and R&B elements, characterized by bouncing instrumentals, catchy hooks, and emotionally charged screams. Issues were praised within the scene for being different and blending styles of R&B and metalcore, but when they kicked out their screamer, I really think they lost any of the edge they may have had. Not to say that I found them intriguing to begin with, but once you cut out that and just leave us with Tyler Carter, even brushing aside the allegations, I got issues.
I really don't know why you're being this negative about it when you could be out there streaming Asking Alexandria.
They're very of their time, so very tied to the 2010s decade from which they were born. I don't hate them, they got a few slappers, but they're gear grinders for sure.
When the love I really need is stupid cheap.
Originally emerging as an industry songwriter and producer, Jon Bellion is a singer, rapper, musician praised for his ability to blend genres like hip-hop and pop with soulful vocals and quirky production. In one of the strangest evolutions of taste I've personally witnessed, I went from thinking that Jon Bellion, The Human Condition, this kind of sounds fresh. I'm into the flows, I like the smorgasbord of ideas. And then within the next year, and by the time Glory Sound Prep, Jon Bellion's second album released, I had done a complete 180 and felt alienated. It probably didn't help that Bellion ended up producing a lot of my least favorite pop records of the past 10 years, like Everything We Need by A Day to Remember, Trumpets by Jason Derulo, and Waffle House by the Jonas Brothers. I was the one shaking my finger and saying, no, you got Jon Bellion all wrong in 2016. But everything changed, and my brain now just hears his music, and I hear try hard. And I also hear utter confusion.
The lights go down in the city.
San Francisco is home to Journey, a legendary rock band beloved for many anthemic hits, powerful vocals from multiple singers, as well as melodic guitar solos, leaving a permanent mark on what would later become classic rock. They've got the anthems that I know you know, Don't Try to Act Like You've Never Heard Any Way You Want It, or Don't Stop Believin'. Every karaoke bar in the entire world would shut down if those songs didn't exist. I just think they became oversaturated to the point where I just feel numb to the majority of their material. Steve Perry ain't coming back, the band members clearly don't like each other, Neil's the only OG left, and, it's fine, but really, maybe time to move on.
One thing my heart tells me is flex on a hoe every time there is a
Juice WRLD was a prolific Chicago rapper, singer known for his melodic delivery and emotional authenticity, helping to usher in a new wave of emo rap in the mainstream before his untimely passing in 2019. I was super skeptical the first time I checked out Juice WRLD because I just wasn't into that emerging emo SoundCloud trap world that he was a part of in the mid-2010s. Legends Never Die was a really good posthumous release, but that should have been the final one. I hate the way that his estate, and that's happened to many other musicians too, but the way they've been milked for all of their voice notes, all of the demos, everything has been released in some way for them to profit off of. I still think about Juice frequently, and I really would have loved to have seen what he bloomed into, and I'm gonna put him in the tier of, it's fine, really.
And God only knows that it's all stuck in my head.
Knocked Loose is a hardcore punk and metalcore band out of Kentucky, largely known for their menacing sound and blistering breakdowns that push the boundaries of modern hardcore. Oh buddy, Knocked Loose, man. For the longest time, people kept saying, man, the hardcore punk vibes mixed with metalcore, it's insane. It's gonna knock your socks off. But me being such a finicky bitch like I am when it comes to heavy, screamed vocals, it just wasn't doing it for me. Was I frightened by the intensity? Maybe. Did I see them live and experience them in a different light? Yeah, I did. But I still wasn't necessarily convinced. That is, until they released a certain album called You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. They're like hunters in the dark with this slightly more melodic approach they've taken. I'm still not sold on their early material. Maybe that'll change in time, but the door has been swung wide open. And indeed, they are heating up.
'Cause I'm young and in love.
Originally from NYC, Lana Del Rey is an American singer-songwriter known for her cinematic soundscapes, nostalgic musings, and sultry vocals, captivating audiences with her dreamy, melancholic style. Maybe it's just my hatred of the bourgeoisie coming out, but I've always felt that Lana Del Rey tries to sell this image of like a 1950s housewife, but evocative and sad. Early on, I found myself enjoying a few of her songs, from Blue Jeans to Summertime Sadness, but the line that she walked between melancholy and atonal dissonance was very strange for me.
Bro, that's the worst take you've had this entire video.
Look at me charging into battle just to die on the Lana Del Rey hate train hill, but that's where I am. It's a code red.
I've rated why they waited, will they love it, will they hate it, who gives a fuck though? Rappers praying they next, this shit is cutthroat.
Logic is a popular rapper recognizable for his rapid-fire lyricism, mass-appealing anthems, and storytelling that resonates with a big audience. Fucking Logic, man. This guy is incredibly corny. He's put out a lot of stuff that I just really don't vibe with at all. I think he has his moments, but his corny ones certainly stack up a lot higher than anything of true substance or weight. Logic just grinds my gears, man. That's what it boils down to.
I want the whole damn thing. Feel it inside of me. I feel it inside of you too.
Mayday Parade are a pop-punk band that broke through in the mid-2000s, becoming celebrated for their anthemic melodies, relatable lyrics, and energetic live stops that dominated the Warped Tour circuit. Mayday Parade were Warped Tour mainstays, and to this day, they still make serviceable enough pop-punk. The problem is that they never really expand beyond that. I don't think they're in any way a great band. They have moments of brilliance, I guess you could say, but they also have plenty of flash in the pan in one ear out the other. A Lesson in Romantics, Black Lines, and oddly the B-sides to Sunnyland are really the only replay value that I've found in their catalog. I'm gonna have to put them in the gear grinders.
Gone insane, but the memory remains.
The Hollywood Hills gave birth to Metallica, one of the most influential heavy metal bands of all time, known for their blistering riffs, thunderous percussion, and for pioneering the thrash metal genre. Like so many others, Metallica were one of my first exposures to the world of heavy metal music. And as a middle schooler, I was amped up, beating my chest. Oh my god, Enter Sandman's the best thing I've ever heard. But as I was shown more of their albums from friends whose stepdads had their entire discography on CD, I just found myself thinking, they're kind of doing the same thing again. Okay, that's very similar. Okay, James Hetfield kind of keeps writing the same song. It's been a topsy-turvy relationship. They've been pretty mediocre since the Black Album, but really, it's fine.
Open your fucking eyes!
Scranton, the Electric City, is also home to Motionless in White, a metalcore band known for their dark aesthetic, ritualistic live performances, and blending elements of metal, industrial, and gothic rock. Cut back to me, 2011, going to attend the Escape the Fate concert with Motionless in White opening. And even then, at my most scenest of scene, I couldn't be won over to Motionless in White. The aesthetic, the cringiness, the Chris Motionless perpetuates as a frontman, and again, style over substance to the nth degree.
You gonna fuck on me?
They always leave me rolling my eyes at their theatrics, redundancy, and the coattails that they ride side, it never really seems like they carve out their own lane. I'm putting them in the code red. Originating from London, England, Mumford & Sons is a folk rock band celebrated for their earnest songwriting, rich harmonies, and wide-ranging instrumentation. My banjo-strumming indie kid era was led by none other than Mumford & Sons. But the more music I discovered, the more generic they started to feel. I started to re-examine their past stuff that I had loved. Now they just don't even sound like they're trying, churning out sleepy-ass adult contemporary fodder on albums like Delta. And for that, yeah, it's definitely a grinding of my gears. Settled in Cincinnati, The National is a long-running indie rock band recognized for their brooding lyricism and delicate, haunted arrangements that complement the introspective atmosphere. I held The National in a similar category as Arcade Fire in the sense that it was like, oh, it's doomy, gloomy, music for sad hipsters. As it turns out, I just hadn't lived enough life as an adult yet. I wasn't jaded enough, life hadn't beaten me down, and now the doom and gloom is everything. Talk about sad but true. The National have really delivered up some quality records. Sleepwell Beast being probably my personal favorite, The Boxer up there high as well. I found some sort of sadistic comfort going through their catalog, some of them for the first time ever. And at this point, I can definitely say that I'm coming back to them a lot more than I used to, and I think you can sign me up as a repeat customer.
Even if my heart stops beating, you're the only thing I need.
Emerging from Newbury Park, California, The Neighborhood is an alternative pop and rock band associated with moody black and white atmospheres, yearning lyrics, and blending elements of indie rock, R&B, and electronica. I Love You was the first album that I was ever given advanced access to as a music critic, so it was a big deal to me. I had been very excited by singles like Sweater Weather, and when the label reached out and said, hey, you can have it early, my jaw was on the floor.
I don't know what came over me. It's like my fedora wasn't even on.
Thank God the fedora slipped off and I just came to my senses. By the release of Wiped Out 2 years later, 2015, I had completely flipped and really started to see Jesse Rutherford as the try-hard creep that he is. Now The Neighborhood are on hiatus as Rutherford pursues a solo career, and I wish him the worst of luck as I chalk this up to some utter confusion. Our Last Night is a successful post-hardcore/YouTube cover band that also makes original music. Fans come to them for their rock versions of popular songs, often capped off with melodic hooks and additional screamed vocals. Despite enjoying a few of their covers early on, I quickly realized what the gimmick is. It's Our Last Night. We're gonna do our rock cover, and oh my god, guess what? Sometime in the second verse of the bridge, we might scream! Damn if they don't know how to cash a paycheck, they're gonna keep doing the most generic rock covers of all time until you stop clicking. From Manchester, England, Pale Waves caught on with their dreamy pop melodies, bringing a spectrum of sound to the UK's indie scene. My initial impressions were that Pale Waves were imitating their label mates the 1975 with their sound, and then it became them emulating 90s and 2000s artists like pop rock a la Avril Lavigne, and I just felt like the band could have been replaced really by any session musician. No one was ever standing out or showing off in any sort of immersive or impressive way. It didn't really feel like there was any sort of future, but I won't say that hope is forever dead. I thought their song Perfume was actually solid. My mind was a little bit blown, but unfortunately, with everything else in the back catalog still sinking them like a ballast, I gotta pull that code red. Hailing from Arlington, Texas, Pantera unleashes a storm of heavy metal fury, cementing their place as legends of the genre with their uncompromising sound. Pantera's brand of groove metal just never really scratched much of an itch for me. I do think that they've got some really great moments on albums like Cowboys from Hell. Their two most iconic and talented members have since passed on, and whatever this current breed of Pantera is that's out touring on the road is not great. In fact, it kinda grinds the old gears. Till there's no one Emerging from Tampa, Florida, Set It Off ignites stages with their explosive pop-punk anthems, infusing infectious energy and undeniable charisma into every performance. Cody Carson is a classically trained vocalist, and that's something that he tries to flex pretty often, but really, is it not ear-piercing to most of you? He tries way too damn hard to make this band edgy. They don't have any more edge than a fucking butter knife.
You're just jealous that I'm gonna be moving out of this attic any week now when I hit it big in the crypto zoo.
You know, I was gonna put them in utter confusion, but I'm seeing red over here. I'm thinking back at everything that I've listened to through the years, Set It Off, and none of it works.
Pass me by, and heaven knows I'm miserable now.
The Smiths of Manchester, England juggle melancholic poetry led by the instantly recognizable voice of Morrissey and the jangly guitar melodies of Johnny Marr. I cannot stand the Smiths, and what initially started off as I don't really like Morrissey's voice became, as I got older into adulthood, like, this is like nails on a chalkboard. To me, it sounds like a constant onslaught of try-hard poetic whimsy with music that doesn't do a thing for me beyond irritation. I really don't have a good time sitting through their albums. It's hard to make it through one record like Meat is Murder in a single sitting, and I'm gonna have to do it. I'm sorry. Code Red. Originating from Columbus, Ohio, STARSET transports listeners to otherworldly realms with their cinematic rock soundscapes, blending futuristic fear with atmospheric melodies. I feel like my brain cells are being targeted when I listen to them. They're one of those bands that you certainly have to do a little shutdown on certain areas to really get any sort of concentrated enjoyment. They've been a band for over a decade, and they're still doing the exact same thing, just with more zip-zap electronic boop-bop. I'm not gonna put them all the way at the bottom. They're not quite that bad, but I definitely don't see what you're seeing, those of you who love them. Born in Riverside, California, Suicide Silence crushes boundaries with their ferocious blend of deathcore, leaving a sonic imprint that reverberates with unrelenting intensity. And while I'm not really a deathcore guy by any means, I thought Mitch Lucker was always a really personality, emotionally driven frontman. Unfortunately, it was his passing in 2012 that really got me to check out their music, and I definitely wouldn't call myself a full-blown fan, but even now, I think that material with Mitch is really, really good. I've listened to a sampler platter of the stuff that they put out since then, and I think it's just alright. So I'm gonna put them in It's Fine, really. Overall, just not really my vibe, but for the deathcore scene, they're definitely one of the juggernauts.
Let the light come in. Damn you to hell. Let the light come in.
New York's very own SWANS mesmerize fans with their brand of avant-garde art rock, pushing open the boundaries of sonic experimentation and defying traditional musical structures. I still have a hard time remembering just how long SWANS have been around, since the early 1980s. I've studied and explored their music dating back to their inception, and so much of it is just out there in left field. The vocals feel like there's some sort of blockage between that and whatever instrumental is playing. The vocals are abstract, dreary, almost intentionally oblique. I think Blind is probably their best song, if that says anything about the type of SWANS guy I might be, because I'm really not a SWANS guy. I'm just confused.
We are but men. Rock.
Tenacious D rocks audiences with comedic flair and the powerhouse performances of Jack Black and Kyle Gass, proving laughter and epic guitar solos go hand in hand. Comedy is one of the most subjective things on the planet, even more so than music. It's like everyone around me was laughing, but I found them so corny, it was giving me secondhand embarrassment. They do have some really funny tracks that hit the sweet spot, like Fuck Her Gently. It's just that I'm not really a fan of, like, the stuff that they've done, Tenacious D and The Pick of Destiny. I never found funny. They've done some covers that I think are really great, like Wicked Game, and recently, Baby One More Time. Come on, that's so much fun. Life's too damn short to be a Jack Black and Kyle Gass hater, so I'm not that guy. I'm just gonna say, it's fine. Really.
The sweetest thing. Eternal fire, she turned me to straw.
U2 rose to fame from their start in Dublin, elevating stadium rock to new heights with their anthemic sound and socially conscious lyrics, captivating audiences around the globe with their spectacles of entertainment. Not to be the parade rainer yet again, but especially since Achtung Baby, I just feel like they're one of the most overrated bands on the planet. Everyone says, you gotta see the live show, it's gotta be about the live spectacle, it's so impressive. And as immersive as it may be, one, I can't afford tickets to that shit, and two, I just don't really feel like it really elevates or would elevate stuff that I'm already not a fan of. It's like Bono sounds half asleep sometimes, and The Edge is like doing his thing on guitar, but his role has been minimalized a lot, especially on the later material. I just don't feel like they're all that innovative or creative, and it's not working for me. From small-town Utah, The Used injected raw emotion into the post-hardcore scene of the early 2000s, and they continue cooking up cathartic shout-along anthems to this day. And while I definitely was into some of the stuff they were putting out back then, in Love and Death, songs like Blue and Yellow, I never held them in such high regard as the gods of the scene, like My Chemical Romance. I just think the production started getting a lot sloppier, the overall songwriting and anchorage of the band, the playing, the lyrical content just kept degrading. I can admire an effort like The Canyon for the way that they went about recording it. I just don't think it had much of a shelf life, and that became even more evident for follow-up albums like Heartwork and Toxic Positivity. Yeah, The Used grind on my gears. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Chicago's very own Wilco pioneered the alternative country movement by seamlessly blending elements of folk, rock, and experimentation into a rich tapestry of sonic expression. Wilco are a band that like to blur the lines between indie, alternative rock, and alt country, and I think Jeff Tweedy is a really great songwriter. Beyond an obvious classic selection like Yankee Foxtrot Hotel, I can't say that I really seek out their full albums, but I've come to realize that I do enjoy their music in pockets, a lot more than I ever thought I would. I can't strongly recommend that you go explore their entire discography, but are they worth sampling? For sure, and I think I'm gonna move them into the heating up tier. Holy moly, we made it to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I bit off way more than I can chew, and I won't do it again. He says, knowing that he'll likely do it again at some point, but thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. Check out more tier lists on screen right now, and I'll see you next time on ARTV.